Yeah, so I started Sales Geek in 2017, and I guess I started planning the business maybe 6 months before that in August of 2016. From slightly strange circumstances, actually, I was 6 months into my dream job, and within 6 months of starting that job, I was already planning to leave it. So I was a global sales director for a $300 million North American PLC. I was only young. I was 32 at the time, and I had a really good career. But actually, I didn't like corporate North America. It didn't suit me, and I always felt compelled to want to help smaller businesses. I come from that as a background. So for me, the main driver was about how can I take the skills that I'd learned through my career and benefit the SME business community. So came up with a very simple plan, which was being a part-time sales director for small businesses, and I guess I believe that if I could make that work where I lived here in this little rural part of the UK, that in theory we could have a geek in every community of the world. Yeah, and somebody called me. They said that you're a proper sales geek, and it was off the back of me submitting some sales plans for the year ahead to the CEO of the business that I was working at the time. And as a result of that, I invested a lot of time and money as well, actually, in my own self education for a long period of time. And that drove me to become quite knowledgeable around psychology, around neuroscience, understanding how people make decisions in sales, but also then overlaying that with data. And I believe that there's too many opinions in sales when actually we're surrounded by data, which actually helps us understand our business functions. And I think between the science of the psychology and the science of data, I slowly became a geek. So I was called it. I loved it. And then I suppose when the idea of the business came around, I think you have to have a relentless belief as an entrepreneur, as a founder of a business. You have to believe in what you're doing, but also there are times during that journey where the confidence levels might go up and down based on where the business is at the time. And yeah, I guess the reality is 7.5 years ago, nearly 8 years ago, it was me on my own helping a handful of small businesses in this part of the UK that most people have never heard of. And now we have over 50 geeks in what, 5 different continents, helping businesses in their communities, and you know a lot of work's gone into getting there. And we've found a lot of great people on the way, which I think is the secret to any great business, is having great people. And we set off on a mission to change the way the world perceives sales. That's our mission as a business, and we created that about a year into our trading history. And the key word there for us is world. And so if we said it, we got to back it up, and we're in the process of backing it up in the early part of 2020 to discuss franchising as a route to grow. And initially, I didn't want to do it. It made sense on paper commercially, but I couldn't see it and feel it. I know it sounds like a weird thing to say, but I couldn't. We had at that point in our journey, every single person that serviced a Sales Geek client was an employee member of my team. We had real investment and control over that. And then about 2 weeks before we went into lockdown in the UK, we took a phone call in the office. It was an organization in the UK who had been let down for a speaker for their event, and they wanted me to go and speak at their event. And they were a franchisor, and they invited me to stay after I'd done my speaker slot for their awards in the evening and stay overnight, which I did. And that gave me an insight over a sort of a full day and a full evening on what it looked and felt like to have a franchise community. And they had 53 franchises in the UK. And I absolutely loved that sense of community, franchisee to franchisee, the relationship between the franchisors and the franchisees. And I got in my car the next morning and rang the team and said, like, we need to do that. I kind of get it now. I can feel it now. I can see it now. So COVID and the lockdowns was our opportunity to as you'll know, franchising requires a lot of work to get to a point that you can go and acquire your first franchisee, and building out operations manuals and contracts and all of those things. And we were so busy as a business that I think we'd have struggled to do it. And then when COVID happened, we had this really quiet, peaceful period for about 6 or 8 weeks, where the UK kind of economy just kind of slowed down to a standstill. And we used that time as an opportunity, and we built out everything we needed in that short period of time. And by the time the UK came out of lockdowns, we were ready to go and find our first franchisees, and then we were so well. Initially, India chose us. We'd actually done some work both in India for some global clients in terms of delivering training, and also we do work for the Indian government back here in the UK. They have a scheme where they support Indian national owned businesses in the UK, and we support that across London and Manchester. So it was always on our horizon, and then yeah, the guys at Franchise India reached out to us and were quite keen to fill what they thought was a gap in the knowledge services brands that they had, and I think it's very, very quickly we understood that and saw the opportunity. And I think, India is a very exciting economy. Guys are on track to be the second biggest economy in the world by 2030. That creates opportunity and prosperity. So for us, it felt like an obvious choice. And actually we've come to India before we've gone to Europe, before we've gone to a lot of other areas. So we're kind of UK and US, and India was kind of our third region to step into. And I think for me, I love how people do business in India. It's very relationship driven, which absolutely aligns to our values as an organization. And it feels very prosperous. Every time I come and spend time in India, which is twice now. I was there in May. I was back again over the last couple of weeks, and I always feel energy and prosperity and a sense of forward momentum in the economy. And I think having the opportunity to be part of that over the next 10 plus years is really exciting for us as a brand. A big part of our mission to change the way the world perceives sales is to make a sales education more accessible for more people. So that's business owners, salespeople, and sales teams in mid to large size organizations. So we do that by having sales geeks on the ground in those business communities. So our main focus over the next 5 years is to find and recruit people that want to come and do this, who want to help their local communities and help. Really, I think the ambition over the next 5 years is to have somewhere in the region of 150 sales geeks across all the major cities and towns in India, because I think if we're doing that, we're actually starting to have a level of impact. The business owners and founders that we find where they've generated all the sales themselves up until that point in their journey. They might be a year old, 2 years old. They've gone and exhausted their network. They don't know how to now get other people in their business that can help them generate that next tier of revenue and to continue on that trajectory. And that's a really difficult phase for any business, which is why most businesses stay as micro businesses, because they can't scale. So for us, we've done that hundreds and hundreds of times over now, working with people at that stage in their journey. And I guess what that means, I suppose the net result of that really is, yes, it's dollars and pounds and lack on the bottom line, but moreover, it's peace of mind. It's business owners able to sleep at night, because the thing that will keep business owners awake the most is revenue. I mean, generally, well, people issues and revenue, right? Generally, the two bigger
Sure.
issues in business. And I think if there's a steady flow, a sustainable, scalable flow of revenue into an organization, that enables them to go and solve some of the other problems as well. Whereas as soon as that flow is limited, it starts causing bigger issues around a business. They're not feeling trapped. They don't know where the next sale is going to come from. They can't forecast what their revenues are going to be into the following quarter or year. And I think plugging in either at a sales mentoring level or at a part-time sales director level, that materially changes that. And then the other scenario that I love the most is we sometimes get inquiries for sales training, and then we realize it's from the business owner themselves, and they've got 3 or 4 salespeople in a business. They've actually got as far as hiring some salespeople. They've probably
Mhm.
had some turnover and some churn in that team. And the business owner doesn't want to manage the salespeople. That's not their background. They want to grow the business. They want to focus on product or operations. And we get to slide in between them and that sales function and take that on for them, and make all of that kind of pain and hassle and challenge go away. And we see that a lot in tech businesses, particularly. Most tech businesses are started by coders and developers. The last thing they want to do is manage salespeople. So we absolutely make that headache. Yeah, so it's been a huge part of our growth in a number of ways. It helps us be significantly more efficient as a business. We are currently supporting 55, soon to be 60 Sales Geek businesses in various different countries. And ultimately, we're doing that with a team of 16 people in an office here in the UK. And we couldn't do that without technology. We couldn't do that without the efficiencies of our internal systems, of our CRM functions, of AI as well. And AI is a huge part of our world, whether that's through making things easy to find for our franchisees in our manuals, whether it's we use it a lot in marketing. So we build and generate a lot of content through AI platforms as well, which saves us an enormous amount of time. And our ability to produce, distribute video content for training and for marketing through using what are relatively cost-effective AI tools means that we have a marketing team of four who probably create the output of a marketing team of 6 or 8 people. And I think that the wave of AI is really exciting for SMEs. I think it's gonna be more difficult in some of the bigger businesses because they're more heavily loaded with people. But I think for a scaling business like us, who obviously will grow by bringing people in and resource in, we get to balance resource and technology as we grow and scale, or should I say, people and technology as we grow and scale. So I think moreover, it also creates a happier workforce as well, because I think tech and AI, the tasks that they take away from people, primarily the mundane, repeatable tasks, that means that we can free our people up, our team up here, to be creative and add real value rather than just doing repeatable tasks. So when our franchise partners come and join us at Sales Geek, we immerse them in a 5 week onboarding process,
Hmm.
and they get a huge amount of training from us over that 5 week period across multiple members of the team, and then beyond that, the regular monthly training, we make available maybe around 10 to 12 hours per month of regular training internally for our franchisees on all subjects from around how to be better delivering our services, marketing and developing and business developing their own brand locally in their community and giving them marketing support as well. So for us, the training and development is critical because it's not just about onboarding new franchisees, it's about supporting their growth journey. Because if they grow and scale, they're successful, the brand's successful, but moreover, they're going to be supporting more businesses in the communities that they serve. So it's really important for us that we deliver live training, we make access to on-demand training too, but then where it's needed, that's also available on a one-to-one basis as well.